UFP, the United Federation of Podcasts.
Infinite diversity.
Kapla, and welcome to Boundless Honor, a Klingon Universe podcast here on the United Empire of Kahless Network. I am your honorable host, Captain Dorg, and join with me today are two people I need to keep a constant eye on to make sure they do not usurp my rightful power. Brandon, prove to me you're worthy of being on this podcast with such a pitiably un-Klingon name. Prove it. And do not laugh, Batak.
Avoid death and cower?
I would kill you where you stand if you were in the same room, which you are not. Chrissie, prove to me you are worthy of being on this podcast by rewriting history to the benefit of the glorious Klingon Empire. Answer me now.
I'm gratified to know that Gowron is doing so well, and I'm glad to hear that. Damn it, I should have had this in my head.
Gowron is dead.
Gowron is dead. Long live Martok.
Okay. Sorry, listeners. I've totally it's thrown off Chrissie and Brandon. This is Justin, by the way, not Captain Dorg, although you probably weren't really wondering about that.
What?
But yes, we will talk about Klingons today. So,
Chrissie, that was pretty amazing intro, wasn't it? I mean, even though he's smaller, weaker, slower, and smaller than the both of us, I mean, that was pretty good.
No, you are thinking of that dishonorable Mah. I am Captain Dorg. I am bigger and stronger. Anyway, I'm going to drop that now because that's going to hurt my voice, and we have 2 episodes to record today. So, Brandon, how are you really doing today?
I am doing just peachy. I'm excited to be here talking about Star Trek Lower Decks today. I think we got a fun times ahead of us here today, and I'm looking forward to it. So
awesome. So, Chrissie, how are you doing?
I am also doing very well. This was a good episode, and I am looking forward to talking about it with you guys.
Okay, Chrissie,
yes.
That type of outburst will not be tolerated on this show.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Chrissie has lost control.
She's lost all control.
Yeah. All right. So,
if I knew how to do like the NPR voice, I would just talk like that. But I don't. Do Vulcans have an NPR voice? Okay.
Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast.
There you go.
Here on the United Federation of Podcast Network.
Too much inflection. Okay, so listeners, we usually have a guest. We don't have one today for this Lower Decks episode called Wej Duj.
Because we killed them!
Ships.
Because they were dishonorable!
Yes, something like that. Well, what I had prepared was that it's appropriate because it'll be only us Wej Monk. Hold on. It'll be only us Wej Mangampu, which, if I'm pronouncing it right, means 3 hosts and no guests. That doesn't mean
cool.
No guests in there, but I looked it up. And the people that pronounce Klingon are probably going to skewer me, but that's okay. Anyway, we don't have a guest today. It's just us 3, but I think we're going to have a lot of fun. But before we jump into our topic for the day, we'd like to take a moment to thank our Patreon patrons who make our show possible, particularly our associate producer, David Willett. Listeners, we'd love to add your name to that list along with mine, and we can do that with your monthly subscription of just $10 a month at patreon.com/UFPEarth, blood wine not included. All right, so we actually have no news this week, and I'm going to say, listeners, we're recording this on Thursday. This comes out on Tuesday. We know there's been news from New York Comic Con about Discovery and Prodigy, but we don't know it yet, so we'll have to unfortunately cover it 2 episodes from now, actually, because we're going to have another episode coming up before we can record about the news. But let's have wild speculative predictions. Chrissie, what's going to come out of New York Comic Con?
Let's see, a combination of the Section 31 show along with the idea about the
Starfleet Academy?
Starfleet Academy. Wow, you read my mind.
Oh,
Beautiful.
I was just thinking you were naming the things that may be happening, but we don't have confirmation. So it's really a trick. There is no Discovery and Prodigy panel. They're really Section 31 and Starfleet Academy panels. That would be awesome.
Which works. It could go into, like, the second season of Prodigy. Could be them at the Academy.
Yes. And season 5 of Discovery is all Section 31 in the 32nd century. No, by then they're in the 42nd century.
Oh,
why not?
Yeah.
So, Brandon, any wild speculation?
I think that they're going to announce 90132, a Lower Decks story, the show. So that's what I think they're going to announce. So
I might watch that. So my maybe more serious speculation than you guys are getting into is that
you did say wild prediction.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my wild prediction is that we find out in a new trailer that the gravitational anomaly in season 4 of Discovery is from the mirror universe, so they have to go there to deal with it for the whole season. Probably not.
Yeah, no.
Anyway, we'll find out cool stuff about both shows, and some people get to see the premiere episode weeks before we do.
He did say wild, right, Chrissy? But I mean, this is too wild, and these type of wild outbursts will not be tolerated.
I sense a theme.
Yes, I'm appropriately chastised. I need to go meditate.
We're already having a lot of fun with some of this, which is great. So let's talk about Wej Duj, which is the first Star Trek episode to have non-Roman characters in the episode title. It's basically Klingon characters in the episode title, which is cool. But it means 3 ships. And we find out that we're really following 3 different ships, which is cool. But Chrissy, initial thoughts, first impressions?
I really enjoyed it. It reminded me of Data's Day a little bit. Like here's your average day on the ship, which is a premise I hadn't really thought much about because it feels like that was part of what Lower Decks was supposed to be, and I didn't think about that and the fact that it hasn't been like that very much until today's episode. And I was like, oh yeah, this is what I thought it was going to be 2 years ago. Kind of. So
it's making 2 years ago Chrissy happy. And present
it's making
Chrissy.
Current Chrissy happy too.
Awesome. So Brandon, initial thoughts?
I thought this episode was fantastic. Like start to finish, I thought this was amazing. And this is 2 weeks in a row that I've said it. This is what I want this show to be. You know, like everybody's like, you know, they're treating each other with respect. They got, you know, character like conflict because of like lying and trying to be who you're not, like which is good for this type of a show, you know. And then we have this nice tangent of like going to these other ships, and the humor is brought out of the situation and out of what we know from these alien species. Like the stuff on the Vulcan ship was hilarious, right? Because it's playing on what we know of the Vulcan species and how ridiculous the concept of an emotionless species is. Right. So it was really, really good. I really loved it. And I'm surprised, Justin, you didn't mention that I think this is the longest episode of Lower Decks yet.
Is it? I haven't paid attention to the length.
It was over 26 minutes on my feed said. So
it was. That's right. Yeah.
That's really interesting. So for my thoughts, I love this episode as well. I mean, I don't know what is happening that we're all loving it. And I think we are tearing at the fabric of why people listen to this show, which is a diversity of opinions. But listeners, bear with us. There is interesting stuff.
Okay,
but yeah, that's
Justin. This type of outburst will not be tolerated.
It will be tolerated by me. So
he's lost all control. Okay, that's
were you there with the Klingon at the beginning? Okay. No, but I love this episode. So that's 2 weeks in a row that I've loved an episode of Lower Decks, which is a first. And like I'm starting to see a bit of a theme in the Lower Decks episodes that I really love. Part of it is structural. Like I really love the structure of following the 3 different ships. I thought it was wonderful to see, okay, here's what's going on with Cerritos Lower Decks, Klingon Lower Decks, Vulcan Lower Decks, and even at the end, the Borg Lower Decks. There's something...
And the Pakled Lower Decks.
Yeah, that was the part that I wasn't into, but yes, but like variations on kind of a theme. And if we go back to the episode I love the most in the first season, which was Veritas, that was the same story from different perspectives, right? Or you know, different people telling the story, and things are different. So I'm finding that I really love that kind of structure. So there's something about that, and like you said, Brandon, this is like what I want from Lower Decks. it's funny because it's accentuating or highlighting things we know from Star Trek, but it's not about people tearing each other down. I mean, and in fact, there was a lot where they were, kind of working together, which I loved. So yeah, I really love the episode. And I just want to point out, before I forget about it, have you guys read the Keith DeCandido's IKS Gorkon novels? The Klingon novels? Brendan has. But so there's a significant part of that that's basically like Klingon Lower Decks, and I was thinking about it while I was watching this episode. I don't know if you were thinking about that, Brandon.
Yeah, but well, a little bit, yeah. I mean, like, it's because he always wanted to have a show, and so that's why he kind of created the books, right? And he was building off of Klingons that we'd seen in previous episodes and whatnot. So, yeah, I could see that there for sure.
Although these Klingons get hammocks instead of bunks like they do in the books. But anyway, I think there's just like a lot of great stuff. So let's kind of get into it a little bit. So what we're presented with is the Cerritos is at warp for like 12 hours. I kind of love this idea as well because, usually in past Star Trek, it's like, all right, engage, it's going to be 12 hours. And then, 12 hours later, okay, we're there. There isn't usually too much that's going on with the leisure time. So I love that, that there was this leisure time and we were seeing what they were wanting to do, and Boimler, of course, trying to suck up to a commander, not being successful. But Chrissie, like, your thoughts on kind of this first part before chaos breaks out on the Cerritos?
I really liked how there was that, how does Boimler describe it? Bridge buddy system. He calls it bridge buddy. But it kind of, this is the one thing, as much as I loved the story and I thought it was well put together and all of that, and really funny, it bothered me because of what we saw last week about how they're like, there's a lot of rivalry. So, maybe we should take this as one of the ways they grew, and they're like, oh, okay, we need to work together more. And, maybe, it sucks that you have to sleep in a hallway, but come to pottery class or something like that.
Yeah.
But I did like that idea too. We don't get enough of just what people are just doing on a day-to-day basis. So
yeah, and I like seeing that. Brendan, what did you think?
Yeah, I agree. I thought that it was neat to see that they were all, kind of accidentally paired up with a bridge buddy, right? And Boimler didn't have it. The guy who's always trying to, be chummy with the upper people, ended up not having one. And so he was put in this interesting situation where he had to kind of lie in order to feel accepted, which was interesting. And I think it fit with the character that we know so far. I think that worked for me. But I liked that, my two favorite ones on this again were, Rutherford and Tendi, right? Because it was neat to see them going and doing something. And I like seeing Tendi and, Dr. Ta'ana, like mountain climbing, and, having Rutherford talk about two different things. I got to do soup with Billups, and I got to do pottery with Shax, like some unexpected things and whatnot. But I mean, Rutherford is also a person who's tried different positions and has worked with different people, and he's like been around the ship already, a little bit. So
yeah, and I love that Boimler comes in. He's like, "Oh, you have two bridge buddies. Can you share one?" Okie dokie. It's like, yeah, that's fine. No big deal.
Because Rutherford's a really good person. He's got like no animosity. He's like he's not worried about anything. He's not worried about anybody taking anything from him. He's just a good-hearted person. Yeah.
I thought one of the things that was, because a lot of it was just like, oh, let's do, pottery and have fun with stuff like that. But when Boimler mentions Bajor and it brings up like all these memories in Shax, it just made me think like, and I was thinking like, yeah, he's old enough to have been through that at that difficult time and what that must have been like. So, I mean, they're probably just hinting at all this history and stuff that's underneath and they won't go into it. But I thought that was really good just to see, that it's not just like, yay, the Cardassians are gone, everything's fine, but things can still come back up, many years later, that trigger you. Yeah.
But we've seen enough with Ro and Kira, right, that we know what he's been through, right? Yeah, true. And like definitely there are certain people who come back from wars, and some people are able to adapt back into society better than others. You know, there's, what do they call it? Post-traumatic stress syndrome, right? And, you know, I thought his line was hilarious where he's like, fighting fascism is a full-time job, you know?
Yes.
Because that's what the Cardassians were, right? You know, so.
Absolutely.
You know, and it's interesting that it really affected him. And even later on where he's like, Klingons want to die in battle. And honestly, I can understand that, you know? Like, he's been through a lot.
I already did. Right? Yeah.
And I'm back.
Yeah.
Now, I always assume that Shax's headcanon, of course, but that he was Bajoran militia that got integrated into Starfleet. And I figured that all of his battle scars that we've seen, unfortunately, so many of them, are
all
from
over his body.
Right, are from that. I assume that if we ever find out how he lost his eye, it's going to be during the occupation.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it was really fun just to see them doing different things. I also thought it was, well, disturbing, but also funny that basically Boimler's strolling along and he's like, oh, one of Freeman's programs is in progress. Why don't I just barge in and check that out? Which is definitely a Star Trek thing. But I thought it was hilarious that they're like having this, they're doing like what velocity, like you see in Voyager. And they're just talking about all this personal stuff. And Boimler's just there like frantically pressing buttons like, get me out of here really fast. I thought that was really funny. So, but yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff. And what I thought was particularly great about this episode is you're going along, right? And you're seeing what they're doing. And then you see what happened. We'll talk about the Klingon ship and the Vulcan ship, but you don't, or at least I didn't realize what kind of, that it was coming together and where it was leading. I thought that was very clever how they did that, because I just kind of expected like, oh, it'll just be some funny stuff across 3 different ships. But I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit. But let's talk about the Klingon lower decks.
Well, while you're there though, I want to mention that, like, I agree with you. Like, I didn't see those coming together at the end, and so when they started to cross at the end, because these episodes, they go fast. There's so much stuff being thrown at you that you don't really have time. Like my first viewing, I don't have time to stop and think, and it's hard to predict where the episode is going to go, and you're not expecting something like that. So when they all came to a head. And, you know, honestly, the Vulcan ship coming to save the day was like a yeehaw moment for me. Like you said that with the Titan last year, and I'm like, I didn't really care that the Titan came in. I was not expecting the Vulcan ship to show up, even though like we just saw the Klingons and them now getting together. I just didn't expect it. And so when it came to save the day, what I was expecting to happen was that the young Klingon would kill the captain and then come in and swoop and destroy the Packard ship together, is what I was expecting. Right. And so that didn't happen. I don't know. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. So.
No, it's great. But let's talk about the Klingon lower decks, which I was kind of making fun of before. But I thought this was really great because, you know, we do get to see, well, I mean, in that character of well, by the way, I think the character that's like the Boimler-like character on the Klingon ship, this he's just so happy to be at helm and all that. I think in the closed captions it came out as MACH, but somebody on Twitter involved with the production said it's incorrect. It's supposed to be MA''AH, I think. So it's Ma'a or something like that. But anyway, so this guy, I thought it was really funny that he's kind of like the Boimler character, and he's really just trying. He wants to be captain. He's trying to suck up a little bit, but they're kind of laughing at him. I don't know. I just found a lot of it funny. But what do you think about like what we see on the Klingon ship, Chrissy?
Whoever came up with the idea of let's mirror all of these, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, and I loved how it was just. They were just being Klingon. They were just, you know, the one punch the other one to get out of bed, and then they're complaining about having to clean out the bottom of the gawk. When I heard that, I expected that we were going to get an almost line for line of Mariner's complaints when she had to clean stuff up.
Yeah,
and then it didn't do that, which I was kind of glad for, because it's a different story, you know. And I love how they used all that stuff that we know of Klingon culture on those ships. Particularly like the Riker episode.
Yeah, Matter of Honor.
Oh, but thank you. I was like, name escapes me. You know, that almost looks like that could have been going on, you know, same kind of time, same, it's,
I think in fact, when Trekcore looked at it, they're kind of modeling it on what you see on the inside of a Klingon ship in Matter of Honor. Yeah.
Yeah, and Undiscovered Country, because they show the transporter room too. But and I love the Targ, the thing with it, because that was a nice little touch that reminded me of Search for Spock. You know, but also like it's just it's wonderful to see them with their Targs.
Yeah, and I love that when you get later on and he's fighting the captain and the Targ helps out, and then when the guy gets killed, he just like comes right up to the command chair and is like, "Okay, I'm yours now." It's pretty funny, but like a lot of great touches. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say you kind of get the impression that the Targ liked the other guy better, the new guy.
Yeah. There was just a lot of funny stuff. I just love when he says, "Save me a seat at lunch unless I die an honorable death. Then someone else can have it."
Yes.
Like it's just like an everyday occurrence that this could I could die. I mean, we know that of Klingons. They're like, I could die today. Today's a good day to die. But it was just funny to kind of take that to its extreme on this ship. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, other things about the Klingons?
I thought there was a couple of neat touches that I thought were really great. I liked that the blood was pink, because that's my thing that I always loved. Like, I know that in the show,
although they reference
the show,
reddish pink blood. Like, some have pink, some have red. I think even in Lower Decks, they've shown some having red.
I don't know. I'm not sure, but to see it so pink like this was great. And having the captain listening to some opera.
Oh yes, I love that.
It was a little bit of a calmer opera than I was expecting, but that's because
he was brooding about the Klingons' place in the galaxy. It didn't have to be too over the top.
No, he's without honor, and he wasn't listening to the right type of opera.
Oh, that's what it is. He should have been killed just for the opera. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So.
Your opera is without honor.
But like those little touches about the Klingons were pretty fantastic. And I mean, like, I loved that you come in and he's loyal to the captain, this guy, right? And the first thing that we see is somebody challenging the captain, right? And so he wants to get on the captain's good side. He wants to become the first officer. He was planning on challenging that guy himself, that Klingon himself, right? But the captain ended up killing him. And then it ended up turning around, and it's like, no, wait a minute, this captain is without honor, and so he ends up with a final battle with him. So I like the symmetry on that storyline.
Yeah, well, and I like that he was basically saying, like, there are others that have tried to break the peace with the Federation, and they've all failed. So let's not keep failing here. That was kind of a nice touch. Yeah. Anything else about the Klingon ship? Because I think a lot of it is it's more kind of the attitude of what's going on that makes it funny than anything else.
I thought it was interesting that we finally find out that the Klingons are behind what's going on with the Pakleds, which adds an interesting layer to the show. And I mean, at the end of the episode, Freeman is like, let's go tell this to Starfleet. So I'm actually quite intrigued to what's going to happen next week, because I'm expecting another major Pakled battle. And, this battle was really well done.
Oh, it looked great. The battle looked amazing.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the finale a lot.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see that a rogue Klingon really was behind this. Yeah. And for me, I haven't been a fan of when the Pakleds have been here, but I was able to kind of tolerate it because it was a relatively small bit, and it was more focused on some of the other ships. So,
Red alarm! Red alarm!
God, I thought that was so good.
I don't know. That was something that was something intellectually I was like, that should be funny, but I'm not laughing at it. I don't know. I just don't like the Pakleds. That's a weird thought that comes in my head. Like, I should be laughing. This should be funny, but it's not. But yeah, not a fan of the Pakleds. But that did hurt my enjoyment of this because it was interesting to find out the battle was really great. Yeah. So let's talk about the Vulcan ship, which I think, like, when the Klingon ship came on, I was like, okay, there's a Klingon title, that makes sense. But when the Vulcan ship came on, that was unexpected. I love that it's a ring ship, kind of like what you see in Enterprise. So that looked really cool. And as you said, Brandon, like, a lot of it is just like really like quiet and controlled. And you have this Vulcan T'Lyn whose rebellion is, to a human, like, very, very, very subtle and slight, right? It's just like little word choices and things. But I love this character because, she's like working within the framework of being a Vulcan, but very much trying to do things outside of that and go by like feelings and gut instincts and things like that. And I really like at the end of it that she's being transferred to a Starfleet ship, because I hope that she's going to go to the Cerritos. I think that would be a lot of fun, because I thought it was a great Vulcan character, and it was a lot of fun on the ship. But Chrissy, what did you think about this part?
Yeah, I thought that was wonderful too. I liked how they seemed to only allow them slight different, like they had slightly different hairstyles.
Yes. I want to point out something I think that Trekcore might have pointed out. The captain, I think, is the only prime Vulcan that we've seen with facial hair.
Oh.
No, that's not quite right, is
that's
it?
Not.
Because Spock has a beard in Discovery Season 2. Dang it.
Sybok.
So Sybok.
And Sybok as well.
Yeah.
Okay, one of the few. Let's say one of the few.
But isn't one of them blonde? I don't think we've seen any blonde Vulcans. Yeah.
One of the Klingons was blonde, which we have seen.
One of the Vulcans was.
Oh, maybe.
But
anyway, well,
it's cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
or maybe or maybe the only one with something that looks like a goatee. Well, anyway.
Maybe we're going to find out that that's the Mirror Captain in a few next season. Right. Yeah. No. I really enjoyed that. I liked. The first time that they accused her of an outburst, I laughed out loud, because it was just like, that's exactly what you would expect, but at the same time, it's, oh God, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I think
she has lost all control.
It's just crazy. There was an opportunity for a callback canon connection that they didn't take, and I'm kind of glad to see that, because it would have been really obvious for one of them to be like, oh, you're not one of Sybok's disciples, are you? Or something like that. The laughing Vulcan. It's
funny, actually, who I thought of with the portrayal was Valeris, actually, because it felt very much like that kind of rebellious. I mean, although, of course, Valeris was doing something worse by participating in this conspiracy to kill the Federation president. But there's something about the delivery that Kim Cattrall had as Valeris that reminded me of this character, T'Lyn. I don't know if it was just me thinking that, but...
The headband, too. She had that metal headband like Valeris. And I think you were meant to think of Valeris because of what was going on with the Klingon ship. And at least I did. But I was just... It was a place where I think last season they would have thrown in a comment about Sybok as being like the one going after his own emotions and everyone else's. And... but they didn't, and they didn't.
But it didn't actually need other references, because we know what Vulcans are like. So yeah,
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. I'm glad they didn't go for what I felt was obvious. Maybe other people didn't, but yeah. And then I love there's the meditation chamber, and she's in there by herself, and then people start coming in, and like I never thought about that. Like, do they have an assembly of meditation time? It's like the equivalent of Vulcan meditation services? I don't know.
Maybe because cool. Before we've tended to see like a single Vulcan in their quarters meditating, right? Yeah.
But if these are lower decks, right? They're lower decks, they would have a communal space for meditation.
Yeah.
Right.
Good point. I didn't think about that.
Well, we talk about lower decks, but that is the captain that we're talking.
The captain wasn't in that scene.
The captain's not in the meditation room.
He wasn't in that scene?
No.
Oh, okay. I missed that then.
I was expecting her to be a Romulan. Like,
really?
The first viewing, I wasn't expecting all these plot lines to converge. I was just expecting 3 lower deck stories, right? Like, concurrent, unrelated, whatnot. So I was expecting her to be like a Romulan or something like that, because she was like, she was going to start to say, I want to do this. I can't remember what it was, but it was like, I want to do this. And she stopped herself from saying that and reworded it. Right. So I don't know. It just was what I was expecting at first. And I'm glad they didn't do that.
I didn't think about that at all. I just thought like, oh, here's a Vulcan that's like a little bit different. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't think Romulan either. That's another obvious place they could have gone. And again, I'm glad they didn't. So.
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary, but yeah, like I love that T'Lyn character so much that I was half expecting at the end of the episode that you'd see her show up on the Cerritos, because it's somewhat later, but maybe a future episode. Hopefully a future episode.
Yeah, maybe.
I want to see this character again.
Did either? Now I'm not good with voices sometimes with recognizing people, but once we got to the Vulcan ship and there was all that back and forth, especially after she said the thing about being a Chadich, I was like, I gotta look up who's doing these voices, because I thought for a moment that they actually had the 4 of them doing the voices for all 3 ships, which I think would have been fun.
Oh, no, I don't think so.
No, they weren't. It was completely different people, but...
Oh, that would have been funny.
Yeah.
While we're talking about voices, I had mentioned this in our chat. It relates to the Klingon ship, but I could have sworn there's a place, I think about, 14 minutes in, I think I said, where it says something like, Captain, we're being hailed, where I could have sworn it sounded like Michael Dorn, but that could just be my hallucination.
Well, I mean, there's certainly enough times he's said something to that effect that they could have pulled it if they wanted to.
Yeah, I half expected to go online and people would be like, oh my God, Michael Dorn's voice. But no, it wasn't that.
That would have been funny.
Let's see. In case listeners want to look it up, about 14 minutes, 11 seconds into the episode. So go back and listen, see if I'm right or wrong. But anyway, we're talking about the Vulcan ship. So, any other things about the Vulcan ship?
No.
Yeah, this is an interesting episode to talk about because it is split into those 3 parts, and they're going along, a certain way, showing you defining characteristics for these ships or these characters, and that's kind of the source of the humor. But okay, so as we mentioned before, the 3 plot lines kind of come together because this bomb that's been provided by the Klingons has a signature for Metreon particles, which I like because that goes back to the Voyager episode Jetrel with the Metreon Cascade, and the guy who basically wiped out people on Neelix's homeworld. So yeah, this came together. There was this really incredible battle. I don't know how much more we can say about it, but I thought coming together, it just felt like, wow, this is really brilliant.
I thought it was funny. Like one of the laughs that I had with the Pakleds was when they were like, "We wanted to test it out on this asteroid, and it's still working." Right?
Yeah.
The Klingons just like it's a bomb. Right? Like
you use it once. Yeah, and I thought that. Okay, I did think that was funny, partly because oftentimes Klingons are kind of portrayed as not that smart, but they are so much smarter than the Pakleds.
Yeah.
They're like, guys, the way a bomb works is once it detonates, it's gone. So that was kind of funny. Yeah.
But I'm really intrigued to see where this is going to go next week. I'm like super, super intrigued to see this.
I kind of am too, because, and other reviewers have said this, it had a lot of the feeling of a season finale, right? Like there's this big battle, changes are afoot. You're figuring out what's going on. I mean, of course, the Pakled ship got away, so I assume it'll be back next week, but I don't know. I'm really not quite sure where it's going, but I'm just glad I enjoyed it 2 weeks in a row. I'm just kind of amazed.
Yeah.
But
you realize that like they're used to somebody not liking it on this podcast, and Chrissy and I have liked it since the beginning. So if we do have to change hosts, it's going to be you that leaves, right, Justin? So we can get somebody else who doesn't like it. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe John Tenuto.
I feel pressure to not
that.
like next week's episode. John Tenuto. Oh, I have no idea what he's thought since we had him on, but probably doesn't like it.
Well, we did all agree, or excuse me, there were episodes of Discovery that we all enjoyed. And...
Yeah, but this is 2 in a row for Justin. Like, we can't handle these kind of outbursts from him. So.
Well,
I know.
We'll just have to see what happens next week. Maybe next week will just be all poop jokes, and then it'll be back to normal.
It'll be like
all poop jokes,
poop Pakleds, and Mugato's masturbating for half an hour. Yeah.
The music was fantastic in this. Yeah. The music made me think of the Reliant battle in Star Trek 2.
Definitely.
And when the nacelle got blown off, it made me think of Star Trek 2. Like there was a lot there. But the music was really fantastic this episode.
But you're still not going to pick up the soundtrack because it's only digital.
No, I just put it out on CD, damn it. Come on, people. Like,
you're consistent. Nothing if not consistent. But yeah, the music
was great. They put Picard Season 1 on vinyl. What is wrong with these people? Put it on CD.
Vinyl is awesome.
Yeah,
well,
sure.
CD's good too.
I think there's an honest difference there in terms of who they expect are watching it. I really do. Because if you look at, like my parents are in their 70s and they're watching Picard. They're not watching Lower Decks. And,
what are you trying to say, Chrissy?
70-year-olds like vinyl. You're old, Justin.
There's a lot of young people that like vinyl. You guys are way out of touch.
Okay. I'm not saying that young people don't like vinyl and that old people don't know how to download music, but I'm saying in terms of who might be buying it, if they produce 100,000 CDs of this, I don't even know if 100,000 CDs of anything are produced anymore.
I don't think they would do 100,000 of it, but yeah.
Okay. Well, are they going to sell 10,000 of them if it's available digitally? Whereas with Picard, you've got people who are a little older, maybe have a little more spare money than people our age, and they're going to have, they're going to see that with the vinyl and be like, oh, that looks really nice, and it's going to go with my collection, and So I think they're marketing. That's all it is.
Why am I going to pay for a digital copy of Star Trek Picard Season 1 soundtrack when I can listen to it on Spotify for free?
Well, that's true.
I'll buy a CD of it, but I'm not going to pay for something digitally that I could just listen to for free on a service. Right? Like,
you're a monster, Brandon. You are a monster. The way you support artists is not through a streaming service like Spotify, but that's a whole other conversation.
True. Well, I think Paramount can handle.
Well, no. But I'm just talking about in general, right? Yeah. It's not going to hurt Paramount, but it does individual artists. Anyway, that's a whole other thing.
Well, if it's on Spotify, then you'll be set.
No, I just want it on CD. Oh man, we're going back to last week. Just CD. Okay. Give me a CD and I'll buy it. I will pay money for the CD. You know how much I paid with shipping for that Star Trek 2 soundtrack that just came out? Conversion and crap, almost $50 Canadian for this thing that I've got 3 versions of. Okay, with the US dollar conversion plus shipping fees, I paid almost $50 for that thing. Okay, give me a CD and I'll buy it. So yeah, I don't know.
And then we can get a holosuite for you and your CD collection, because I think there's quite a connection there. Anyway, music was great for this episode. It was
fantastic.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So I guess other points on the episode. I realize I have some other things I wanted to talk about for canon connections and quotes and the like, but
yeah, I got some canon connections too.
Or do you have a deep philosophical point before we get to that, Chrissy?
No, I was just thinking I really liked, and I didn't think of this before when we were talking about it, but I really liked how Mariner and Freeman seemed to be getting along in a healthier way. I'm not going to say entirely healthy, but if you...
They had this hostility toward each other, but at the end of the day, Freeman was like, I really enjoyed it. And Mariner has to kind of reluctantly be like, yeah, I did too. I was like, oh, that's nice. That's progress.
Yeah, and if they're gonna have more character development, and this isn't gonna be like your average cartoon, and I think that's the way it's going, I think by the end of it we'll see it's the journey to getting to know your parent and getting to know a child as an adult and moving to that different level. And I think we're gonna see that. I hope we're gonna see that.
Yeah, totally agree. No, but it is good, and I saw good progress. What did you think of Mariner this episode, Brandon? You've called her trash before.
Good question.
I thought this was fine. And at the very end, when they're all at the end, and she's like, look, hey, guys, let's promise next time we do this, we'll spend our time together. Like, I like that. That's great. I think that's a wonderful suggestion from her, because Boimler ended up inadvertently getting left out, and they felt bad for him for that.
No, I really like that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
The whole scene when they get called up for the red alert and almost everybody's on the bridge in their civvies. I love that. I love the scene of seeing everybody run down the hallway. There was the one guy who was in like an Elizabethan ball gown.
Yes, that was cool. I thought it was fun also that Barnes was like at the helm or nav and just had like a heavy jacket and earmuffs on.
Yes, and the earmuffs. Yes.
Some guy came out of a holodeck dressed like Sherlock Holmes. I don't know if he's
like
dated.
I did. He had a pipe. He had a pipe, and he was coming out of what looked like the Sherlock Holmes library in that episode of TNG. Yeah,
fantastic.
That was fun because some people be on the holodeck. I mean, thankfully nobody stumbled out of the holodeck naked, I guess, but that was a different episode.
Lost opportunity, man. That's so sad that they missed out on that.
Is it Stevens riding Ransom out of the holodeck?
Okay, so I caught all that stuff that you were talking about. All happened in the hallway afterwards, right? And so.
Everyone was distracted by Boimler and his black bar. You could have had somebody stumbling, like in their underwear out of quarters. That would have been kind of funny.
Yeah.
Like Chekhov
as opposed
and
yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Could be like that. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. It was just a lot
Same
of fun.
Implication, I guess.
Yeah. All right, let's talk some canon connections. You had some, Brandon?
Yeah, I got two more here. So I thought it was fun that Freeman had a shirt that said Ritos
Yes.
instead of disco. I thought that was pretty cool.
I think to be consistent, it needs to say Cero.
I'm okay with Ritos.
Okay.
It works either way.
And when they were playing that like Star Trek Clue game, I loved that the reference of the weapon was the rifle that can shoot through walls from
Field
Deep
of Fire.
Space Nine. Yeah.
I love that.
I like those two there.
Yeah. Okay.
Do we think they're going to release that shirt?
The Ritos shirt?
Probably.
I hope they do that for all of the ships going forward. I hope we see those just be fun, you know.
So would you want prize instead of enter?
Yeah. Yeah. With a Z though. You got to like make it kind of kitschy. Prize. No, okay.
Okay.
And then what do you do for Titan? Titan's just Titan.
Yeah, it's just Titan.
See, I mean, you're not going to abbreviate that in any way that isn't suggestive. So
I think the Enterprise D, that could just be like the giant D.
that's better.
Yeah.
No, that is better.
The big D.
Yeah. I mean, right, yeah, there's all the implications of that too. But no, I like that better than trying to turn Enterprise into something shorter.
That's a good idea. And of course there would just be a voice shirt, right? You don't need to say more. But but Chrissie, do you have other canon connections?
Well, my canon connection was going to be the fighting fascism as a full-time job. Because I just adore that. That's like, I'm going to connect canon to the entirety of the Bajoran story. But the pottery making too, I mean, that was something we saw in Masks. That was a very Enterprise D scene of there being, you know, people taking an arts class on the ship. And I really love that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I had a couple. They were mentioning the Stratagema tournament, so I love any reference to that game from Peak Performance. Let's see what else. Kor got a mention, and the Battle of Clock de Kelbracht, which he's I think fighting in a simulation in DS9's Blood Oath, so that's fun. Of course, we got the Star Trek V references with Go Climb a Rock and the boots and the climbing and all that. I like that T'Lyn said logic is the beginning of wisdom, not the end, quoting Spock from Star Trek VI.
Yes.
She's just like bringing out her book of Spock quotations, I guess. And he's still alive at this point, right? Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's another, like we talked about the Cisco cameo. We could have an older Spock cameo with Ethan Peck voicing him, maybe. I also love that that the Klingon captain, as they're about to beam away, says "Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war," like in Star Trek VI. So that was fun. Let's see what else. You know what? One other thing. I think TrekCore found this. So, not counting episodes named after individuals like Darmok or Su'Kal, this is the 5th episode title that only contains alien words. The other ones are Elogium, Empok, Norsun, Katse, and Kirshara. So, that's kind of fun. Also, the first time I watched this episode, I was like, that's a wonderful episode. The Cerritos warps away. I was like, there's just credits. I'll just stop it here. And then I saw some stuff online about a Borg sequence. I'm like, what? So I saw that. And it was pretty funny that Lower Decks is just regenerating pretty much. And you just hear the background of like others coming out of regeneration. So, although I think it would have been fun if they went into, I guess, whatever would be like a regenerated Unimatrix Zero and see what they're doing within there. But that's okay. But that was cool. Kind of fun. So anyway, that's all that I caught. You can tell I really like this episode because I was like, let me give you all the canon connections, not like, I could take it or leave it.
And you watched it twice.
And I watched it twice and read the transcript as well. What is going on? I feel like I'm setting myself up for disappointment next week. My bar has gotten so high. But no, listeners, this was a lot of fun. Hope you enjoyed it as well. And sorry we couldn't have as diverse opinions as we normally do. But anything else to add?
I don't think so. I think that's basically covers it. I mean, it's not too in-depth. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And I think next week we'll probably have more to talk about because it's going to work on the Pac-led plot. So,
do we think we're going to have a cliffhanger next week?
No.
Okay.
Don't think so.
I'll be the dissenting voice. I think it's going to be.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's some disagreement.
Okay. You've lost control.
It's my joke.
Oh, sorry. Let's see. So
Gloves
Brandon,
are off now.
So Brandon, where can people find you when you're not adjusting your rocket boots, sending you to a painful descent into the branches of a tree?
You can find me on Twitter, I guess, at Brandon Matella. Still
Can
off.
we, though?
Still enjoying.
Will you ever be back?
I don't think so. Honestly, at this point, I don't think so. But the count's there.
Oh,
So
boy,
other than that, I got a couple of shows here on the network. I got a show called Franchise Fatigue, which is all about movies, remakes, and sequels. And we are smack dab in the middle of our Mad Max franchise. And then coming up, we're going to have our bonus episode on the new Halloween movie, Halloween Kills. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm going to go see that on the 15th. Looking forward to that. I watched the original Halloween today, and I might watch the 2018 Halloween tonight. So, and then I've also got Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast, which covers Hitch's films in chronological order over on the Fandom Podcast Network, as well as in our own independent feed.
All right. And Chrissy, where can people find you when you are not giving a sarcastic "live long and prosper" as you exit the room? By the way, I love that. It felt like a very... I mean, they were pretty much riffing on Mariner doing that, but...
Yeah. She is the Mariner of the Vulcan ship.
I think
that's what she was.
Some ways, yeah. Like but the like rebelliousness you see of Mariner is channeled much more narrowly here. But yeah, it kind of is that she's meant to be the Mariner. But
Vulcans do things more, less emotionally, right?
Yeah, well, and that also made me think of in 2009 when Spock is before the Vulcan Academy aside and basically says like "live long and prosper," which is in the way to say basically "f you." But I love that. Anyway, where can people find you?
Yes. Okay. So in addition to here on Infinite Diversity, of course, you can find me on History with the Szilagys here on the UFP Network, and that's a short history podcast I do with my fellow historian husband Jason. And I'm happy to chat about all of our shows in the Federation Council Chambers on Facebook. And I'm on Twitter at The Goddess Livia. That's TheGoddessa. And I'm on Twitter at The Goddess Livia. That's TheGoddessLivia, where I tweet about Star Trek history and leftist politics.
All right. And you can find me on Twitter. I'm at TrekFan4747, where I tweet about nothing but Star Trek. And I'm constantly taunting Brandon there, and he doesn't get the notifications. Aha! Well, actually, I'm not. But you can also find me on...
Taunting people behind their backs is very dishonorable.
And illogical.
I'm human. All right. Well, you can also find me on our Facebook group, the Federation Council Chambers. I hope you will join us there. And thank you, listeners. No naked pictures happened after the last 2 Sexy Times episodes. Appreciate it very much. And that's all.
They're saving them to throw like randomly.
No.
No, please don't.
So, Brandon, tell us about all the other shows that we have.
In addition to Franchise Fatigue and History with the Szilagys. Hey, Chrissy, you know what I realized the other day when I was listening to your show? You and Jason have got like the same last name. Like that is like the craziest coincidence.
Well, technically, Chrissy's
you say that. But... Okay. When I was in my undergrad, one of my professors, the one who did all the classical stuff, was dating a woman who had the last name was pronounced the same, but it was one letter difference in spelling.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, it was so funny because we were like, "Oh, just why aren't you saying you're married? It's fine. Nobody cares." And it's like, "No, that's just how it is." So,
I had a teacher at my high school. She had a hyphenated last name. Right, mm-hmm. So her maiden name was Brown, right? So she went Brown, and then whatever. I won't say the other name, but whatever. But then the principal at our school was also Brown, and she's like, if I married him, then my last name would be Brown.
Yes. And things like that do happen. I think about, and here's something in history. Let's see. Franklin Roosevelt and Eleanor Roosevelt had the same last name before they were married because they're distant cousins, something like that.
Second cousins,
not so distant. Second, yeah.
No, they weren't distant. They were distant enough that you wouldn't produce any genetic abnormalities.
But not so distant. Yes.
Yeah.
So it does happen. Sometimes people marry and have the same last name beforehand. Interesting.
Oh, you don't have to change any paperwork then. That's nice.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Anyway.
on the network here, we also have All Good Things, which is hosted by Amy Nelson, Ken Tripp, and Patrick Devlin. They discuss all Star Trek. Galaxy Class, all TNG, all the time, with Rhea Papagiorgio, Kevin Scharf, and Amy Nelson. Joe Keegan's there too. And Who Wouldn't Want to Be a Kid Again, with Chris Tribuzio, Patrick Devlin, and Casey Pettitt. They talk all things under the Disney umbrella on Mickey's Marvels. And Kavanti Chillis and Lance Laster talk all things that make Arrow Arrow over on Always Hold On to Arrow. And last but not least, Zach Moore and Ken Tripp discuss all things Sasquatch related on their show Sasquatch. They cover books and movies and things like that. TV shows. It's a lot of fun.
All right. Well, thank you very much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to our executive producers, Ken Tripp, Tony Robinson, and Zach Moore. Thank you to Zach Tripp for the wonderful theme music and Tony Robinson for the awesome show art. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, and please subscribe. We have not gotten a review for a while, so please go over there if you can and give us a rating and review.
Yes.
If you don't give us a review, you are without honor.
Exactly. Or without Apple Podcasts, possibly. but we would
If you
appreciate
review
it.
us on other platforms, let us know. We'll look there.
Yes, that's true. And if you want to reach out, you can find the network on Twitter at UFP Earth or our show specifically at IDIC Podcast. You can also talk about any and all of the UFP podcasts in our Facebook group called the Federation Council Chambers. Or you can email us at infinitediversity@ufp.earth. On the next episode, we will be talking about Coda Book 1, Moments Asunder. Listeners, it has begun and we are so excited about it. Until then, peace and long life.
This has been a production of MTMR Media Works.
Ah, and then... Oh, shit. What does Picard say? Damn it.